15-year-old boy just doing a typical high school prank, streaks completely naked through his high school football game, and the school freaks out and wants to suspend him and wants to maybe have criminal charges pressed against him to the point we'll have to register as a sex offender, which I take real serious legal issue with that. But anyway, so as a result, the kid kills himself.
This is the worst story I've ever read. I mean, the fact is we've just come up with two straight stories that are arguably worse, but this is the worst story I know.
So the kid he streaks.
He streaks because he's drunk or just because he got put up to it by his friends. It's
and
irrelevant
the kids
why.
at school love him. You know, they call him a legend. Everyone's celebrating him, and the school freaks out.
And it's a serious thing, the school says, because he was naked running across the field while everyone cheered.
So Anna and I, for a long time, have been talking about the sex offender registry list and how it's too big. Like now, just like they play it safe. They just throw everybody on the sex offender registry list. Yeah. Oh, you showed a body part at some point. You were on a nude beach. Whatever. You're a sex offender. I don't care.
You were peeing in public.
You're peeing in public. I'm sure they're
no, that is. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
And so then, first of all, one downside of that is then I don't know who's the actual sex offender. Like so, like if I got kids and in the neighborhood and I got a sex offender in the neighborhood, I don't know if he was peeing in the street 15 years ago and he's a totally fine guy, or I gotta watch out. That's the guy who kidnaps kids, right?
Totally.
So like they made it. It's like the terrorist watch list when it's like 800,000 people long. You're like, then they're not terrorists. It's meaningless, right?
It loses credibility for the substance in which it's intended, and that's exactly what's happening.
I would tell you what I would do with the sex offender registry list, and I've long believed this: throw it away. None. We can't do it. You convict somebody, they serve their time. It's done.
I don't know
it's
about
done.
that.
We don't punish people after the fact in this country. It's done. Then make them serve. Then make
Is
sex
that a
offenders.
punishment, though?
Yes, it's a gigantic punishment. You can't get a job.
Okay. What I'm saying is, you got to weigh that though against public safety, and all I'm saying is,
Then keep them locked up. Then send them to prison longer. But you can't have people. You can't stamp. We don't stamp a Star of David or a scar.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, we don't do it in this country.
Well, you can.
I mean, we do, but
I see what you're saying. I always looked at it more like kind of a very light probation. Like we're going to let you go on probation. You're a sex offender, but you still have to. You don't have to wear an ankle bracelet. You don't have to check in with anybody, but you do have to register. Like that's part of your.
And sometimes it is a time limit on it. Sometimes you got to register for 5 years, 10 years, or whatever. And sometimes it's lifetime.
But now the ruin, like he said.
Yeah. So on the list overall, I'm 50-50 because the compelling points that Ben makes. At the same time, people want to protect their kids. I get it. Right. Overall, I think I would lean on Ben's indirection.
So you're okay with sex offender moving next to you and your kid?
Well, no, I'm okay.
No, I'm not, but I'm okay living in America, and once they're out of prison, I can't decide where people live.
Yeah, and I'm okay with we punish them to the full extent of the law, whatever we all decide is the full extent of the law, and then that's it. Right? Okay. So, but look, in this case, we don't have to worry about it because the kid did it. Streaking, are you kidding me? Like,
that's right.
So first of all, streaking happened all the time. So half the country in the old days, the 1950s, whatever, would have been on the sex offender registry list. Don't ruin the kid's life. Second of all, like you got embarrassed, and now everybody's saying the kid's a legend. So the authorities in school are like, oh my God, that's like a personal affront to us. Oh, haha, he's so cool. Oh, I guess it's like an ego thing for them. Oh, we're gonna get you. All right, we might expel you. We're gonna put you, and we're gonna make you criminal. We're gonna put you on the sex offender list. But it's like part of this over punishment that we do in everything. Everything is overblown. Everything is, DEFCON 1, and we're going nuclear, and we're going to destroy your life, and you made it. Aha! We're going to get you. Look, I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, we mooned people, right? Like, right? We mooned them, like all
sex offender.
Right? We would have all literally. 80% of the males in my high school would have been sex offenders on mooning alone.
Yes.
Right? So this is stupid. And I mean, look, it reminds me of the Aaron Swartz case a little bit, that was a more serious case. They went after the kid for, breaking into a database that wasn't even what he did wasn't illegal, etc. You know that story.
He stole a bunch of library books.
Yeah, basically. Right. Yeah, and he didn't even steal them. He was violating a terms.
He showed a bunch of library books to people who didn't have cards.
Yeah. And so they was such malicious prosecution, and he wound up committing suicide. Here, they threatened it. And they're kids. He's a 15-year-old. They're emotional. You would have been fine. They wouldn't have even. I don't think they would have even followed through on it.
Suspend him from school for 3 weeks and make him serve detention.
Yeah.
Those are serious punishments, and make him take all the tests afterwards, so he has to work really hard.
Yeah. The worst thing too is the principal statement that this wasn't a prank. It's like, no, that's exactly
What was it
was.
then?
Yeah. Right.
What
That's
it wasn't
exactly
a prank.
what
He
it
was seriously trying to recruit other kids to join his cult of nakedness. You say that we prosecute or over punish everything now in our culture. Well, I say we don't. I say that's when you squeeze the balloon, it comes out someplace else, because we're not prosecuting the biggest criminals in America right now. Jamie Dimon just paid $11 billion fine for criminal malfeasance. He just pays it.
He didn't even lose his job.
He didn't even lose his job. He gets promoted. And we don't prosecute torturers. We don't prosecute war criminals. We don't, not even nothing. No hearing, nothing. So the people doing the worst crimes in America we're letting go. In fact, they're exalted.
Yeah,
so now it comes out this way.
But if it has to do with sex, even something that doesn't have to do with sex,
Right.
streaking. This is what. But of course, that's what it is.
That's the argument,
It's this idea of no, we're scared. Don't let our kids. There's no sexuality. We have to crush it. We have to crush it completely, or something terrible.
When do we put 15-year-olds on a sex offender list anyway?
Oh, right.
And that's part of the problem with the sex offenders
Yeah.
list. Like, I got it. Obviously, I see the motivation of. I'm against it. 100%. But I see the motivation of a sex offender list. If somebody who raped a woman serves 19 years in prison and then gets out of prison and you want to put him on a sex offender list. I still think he served 19 years in prison. That's it. So, but this is insane, and it's our obsession with sex and adding all these people to the sex offenders list because we think there's somehow something wrong with this kid for doing it. And I clearly, and that's how they made him feel.
Yeah.
But let me say one thing about the sex offender list that I want to point out, because you asked a very reasonable question, so you're okay. Actually, it wasn't that reasonable, but I get why you asked
Well, you understand.
Right,
It was provocative.
So you want, it was provocative, so you want a sex offender living next to your family. Of course I don't want a sex offender living next to my family.
Right.
So where do you think they live?
Well, actually, I saw this documentary about it, and you saw that. It's crazy. They almost don't have a community, and I agree that's not right either. If we're going to expose them to this registry and basically exile them from traditional society, we got to do something to compensate.
Or they live in kind of rundown apartment buildings with poor people.
Yeah.
Who also have kids, but fuck those kids.
And
That's
by
a
the
good
way,
point, yeah.
who will be the most powerless?
Who'll be the most
and
powerless.
the cops will be the
Defenseless,
least
yeah.
interested in protecting them,
You guys
So
are right.
it's just
etc.
like you
So
can't.
no, Ben's convinced me. I got kids. I got young kids. No, I don't want the sex offender registry. All right, I'm not going to know who's on my street. That's fine. But on the other hand, if you came to me and said 2 strikes and you're out on a child, molester,
So
you're
repeat
out as in
offenders.
life sentence, I'd probably agree to
Well,
that
see,
in a second.
I think 1 strike and I don't understand how you rape someone and you ever get out of prison. I don't understand how you rape a kid and ever get out of prison unless you're a priest. I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. The problem,
Yeah.
of course, with
That's a good
I agree,
point.
everybody agrees. I think rational people. Yeah, we rape a kid, 1 strike and you're out. Like the problem is that what about things that fall well short of that?
Yeah.
But suggest serious danger.
Right.
Like
But
you
they-
expose yourself to a kid and maybe you touched him, but you didn't rape the kid. The kid ran away.
Forever. Go away forever.
Right.
That's fine. I don't care. Forever. It's not. That's horrible.
That's horrible. I agree.
You can't cross a border with a boundary with a kid sexually, and that's it. You're going to prison forever. I can't. But you probably know better than me because you're a lawyer.
Yeah.
It seems to me, whenever I read stuff about people who reoffend after that, their original sentence was nothing.
Right.
Like raping someone, they got a 7-year sentence. They served 3.5 years. Like, does that sound like that?
That sounds about right.
Right?
And
That's
it's
crazy. And if they had a
because-
joint in their pocket, they'd be gone for 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make a very good point, Jimmy. We don't prosecute what we need to prosecute, and it comes out in a really twisted.
I know,
awkward
and like,
way.
and here we are, there's a bunch of liberals sitting on this panel here, and everybody thinks that we're soft on crime. Like, we're all like, no, look, I just don't want you executing anyone, and I don't want a sex offenders registry list, but I'm very comfortable with you sending violent criminals to
Yes.
prison for the rest of their life with no possibility of getting out.
It's-
End of
The
discussion.
non-violent people, it's it's the drug war. Let's just say that's what it is. If we got rid of the drug war, maybe we could have a civilized society again.